Welcome to Yeshiva Daf. We're holding in Zevachim Daf Mem and starting in Amud Aleph on top. We just quoted a brisa, and the Gemara now is going to go through the brisa and dash and explain some of the parts of the brisa. So it says the Gemara, "Mama, Ein li ela matan sheva sheme'akvois mikol mokom." The Drasha we talk about power and dosh tzibur, and it says ve'osa kasher osa. And you learn from there, so that's me'akev. What's me'akev? Whatever you do in Param Noshatzi was me'akev. Me'akev means it's required. If you didn't do it, it's no good, right? So, says the Gemara, maybe it's only Matan Sheva. Matan Sheva means that's me'akev b'chol Heicho, where's that? Pora adumo. You have also Matan Sheva. And by Negoim, you also have, by Negoim, meaning by Tzaras, they have to give to a Mitzvah. So that's why you always need the 7. Says the Gemara, Matan Arba Minayin. What about the 4? Tomud Loimar Ken Yase. 4 means the one in the Mizbech. Says the Gemara, Ma'ishna Matan Zayin Nichtivun Kfilon, Matan Dal Namik Tivun Kfilon. Meaning, it said, the way the Pasuk writes is the Torah tells you what to do. Then it says, which means to only do it, it's me'akev. Now, for everything I mentioned to you before, make sure to do it. What did he mention before? 7 and 4. The 7 hazos and the 4 in the corners. So if I mentioned already 7 and 4, so why don't I mention, the same way the 7 I doubled, the 4 I doubled. Why you told me for the 4 I need something special? Says the Gemara, Omar Yimur Lanitzcho El Rab Shimon, according to Shidduch of Shimon, the Tanya Lemalo Oimer Keren Karnus Shtayim, Lemato Oimer Keren Karnus Arba Di Rab Shimon. According to Rab Shimon, how do I know the 4 corners? The 4 corners I know because it says Karnus Lashon Rabim. You dash the Kri, the way you read it, and it says Karnus here, and it says Karnus somewhere in the by Par Kren Mashiach, I believe. Yeah. So it says Karnus in both. That's why I know 4. So it doesn't say over here to do 4. It says Karnus says 2. You're dashing 2 from another place. So that's why I need a special policy to tell you it's me'akev, because that doesn't say mefirish. It says over there you should do it be'oil moed. Or the word be'oil moed is extra, as Rashi says. To tell you that wherever karnus that are in the oil moed needs to be done. So he has different drasha. For Rabbi Yudo ken yaseh ma'avilei. According to Rabbi Yudo, I don't need ken yaseh for the 4 because the 4 is written clearly in the Torah, in the parsha. So why do I need to tell you that it's me'akev? Says the Gemara. Okay. Says the Gemara, look at the Tanya, Fishaloi Laman the Parim Kippurim the Smicho v'Shior Adam. By Parim Kippurim, it doesn't say to do Smicho, to lean in it, and to do Shior Adam, the leftovers goes out. Minayin, how do you know you have to do it by Parim Kippurim as well? Tomaloima Ken Yaseh. Right? You have to do it. The Parim Kippurim Lamanu, meaning these, some take away these words. Meaning, what Parim Kippurim I don't know. Hamat the Parim Yom Kippurim. Right? So it tells over here. Sorry, so it says, well, I said it a little wrong. The Gemara says, I need to tell you Parim Kippurim. You know why I'm telling you over here the word Pasuk Hashirase? To tell you the Parim Kippurim also needs Smicha and Shirayim. Says the Gemara, with Parim Kippurim Lamandu? Halamaito Lapar Yom Kippurim. You just said before in the Brisa, the word Lapar refers to Yom Kippurim. It does Yom Kippurim. So Yitzich. Sagda Ramini Ani Mila avoid the Makal Kapar. Maybe Dafka Avoido, which is required, like Zriko Hazo. If I didn't, so you have to do in Yom Kippur. Like what? Like Smicho and Shirayim, Aim Elohim, I don't have Yom Kippur, Kamashma. That's why that's the extra pasuk. You learn that from there. Interesting point, halacha point. It says over here that they did Yom Kippur when he did Smicho. When did he do Smicho? And the Rambam, it says he did Smicho when he did Vidui. So when he did Vidui, he was leaning on the korban. So it's cute, the hair. It says in halacha, when you say Vidui Yom Kippur, you should not lean in anything. So one of the Chachamim asks, So, but here you're leaning on the carbon by Beis Hamikdash. So, what's the difference between tefillah and the carbon? So, he explained more than that. He says smicha is not an issue. Smicha is a bizarre tefillah. I mean, you're not doing tefillah like you're supposed to. You're not standing. So he tells you, don't do smicha.
You're supposed to bend over.
You bend over, don't lean. Mashayka by carbon, that's the avodah, to lean on the carbon. So it depends what you do. Second one, Rabbi Shimon I boy moed ma'avil. Remember, Rabbi Yehuda learned from oil moed arba kindness. What does Rabbi Shimon do with oil moed? So Gemara oil moed nibayli sheim nifcheto tikro shel heichol lo hayam hazeh. Oh, tells you if there's no ceiling to the heichol, you don't do azor. Azor is only if you have a ceiling. If I don't have a ceiling, I don't do azor. How does Rabbi Yehuda learn it? Ma'asher. It says asher or in it. If you take asher lo dorsh, that's a discussion throughout Shas. Does the word asher give you a drush or not? He says it gives you a question, a discussion or not. But from here you learn that you need to have a ceiling. If you don't have a ceiling, you can do the avodas haprimis. So here there's a very interesting discussion. The Achronim bring the Kli Chemdo has a ha'aris that he wrote in the Sefer Hilchos Eretz Yisrael and Miyuchos L'Baal HaTur.
What does he learn out from Hasher?
You need to have a ceiling. Sure, but oil moed needs to be oil moed with a ceiling.
I mean, not from oil moed.
Oil moed is using it.
Rashi's saying that he switches it now. He also uses oil moed for the ceiling, and now he's using.
Maybe could be right.
He used Asher, or now he's using Asher to learn out the dollar currency.
Very good. Okay, you're right. Okay, Asher, maybe that's Asher.
Why need a dress and not considered by this naming? It doesn't have this roof.
Which makes sense.
No. It means if you have
it's a roof. That sounds
same.
Makes sense. They both make
Look for the Shuvadash oil moed. Then they change it around. Very good. Oil moed tells you how to do an oil moed. The question is, what if everything is there except the ceiling? There's interesting. This is where this fascinating discussion comes. This Klichendo I mentioned. The Rambam holds the Makrim Hayoim. You could do a krova today without a bais, without a house, without a Beis Hamikdash. You could do a krova and have a bais. So ask.
Bring the carbon base up. That's what they were saying.
Yeah, it's all based on this Rambam. You can be karbonis. There was already a few times throughout history they tried to do karbonis. So ask the Klichendo. But according to our Gemara says you need to have the ceiling. Where's the ceiling? That's what he asks. So he brings that he brings a few pieces of Frank that speaks about in a different Indian. It's really a shiloh of the Rishonim that it says that you need to have daltos ha'eichel. When you do a shchita, you have to open the doors of the eichel. If you have no house, how you open the doors of the eichel? So it says the Rajva already. It says no. You need to have a house. If you have a house, you open the doors. If there's no house, you don't have to open the doors. I mean, it's the way you define the house is opening the doors. He says the same thing over here. If I have a house, I have to have a full ceiling. If I don't have a house, I do without a ceiling. It's like someone's having been living. Someone was living in a house, and then there's a hole in the ceiling. There's a leak. He has to fix it. If not, he moves out. Someone's homeless anyway. Doesn't have a ceiling. Like he doesn't have nothing. So I don't care about the ceiling. Something like Abayo Omar LeAbiyuda Namitzich. According to Abiyuda, you also need the drosha. We just said according to Abiyuda, you don't need it because it's boring white. Second, Ramini Midavi Asmicho V'Shir Adam Davgo Dechtiv Mekfir Lo Me'akfo. Matar Banam Lo Takev Kamash Fola. We just learned the end of the brisa was that Shiraim and Smicho, even though it's written, it's not Me'akev. So maybe also the Matan Arba is not Me'akev. So that's the assert. Says the Gemara Lapar Zepar Yom Kippurim. That we're continuing dash in the brisa. Brisa puts in the sentence over there. Par is Yom Kippur. Lama Yechezkel. Let's go to the issue. Ilakev that you need to do Par Yom Kippurim with no exact as it's written. Pshito Chukah Ksivebe. For Yom Kippur it says the word Chukah, and Chukah is referring to something that's Me'akev Yom Kippur. Chukah is written on only what's done in the Kodesh Kadashim inside the Kodesh Kadashim. He didn't do the right order, he ruined it. Whatever Kohen Gadol does in Yom Kippur outside of Kodesh Kadashim, then you could go in a different order. So So emo kesidul l'me'akve. If you don't have to do the right order, hazos nam l'me'akve. Also, if I skipped it completely, it should be okay. Kamash malan. That's what I tell you over here. Parim Kippurim tell you must do it. That's the drasha. So if you say that, that's what the pasuk says. Kila mekaper sakodesh when he's going to end. So there's two ways that I dash it. It's not so clear in the lashon, but this is what it means. One way to dash it is in kiper kila, v'im loy kiper lekila divrei Rabbi Akiva. Meaning, Rabbi Akiva learns in kiper, if you did the main kapara, you're done. If you didn't do the main kapara, you're not done. So all I need is the main kapara. That's what it means. I have to do the thing which is ma'akev. Matan Sheva, Matan Dalet, the main parts. If you did it, you're done. Even though you didn't do Shvichas Shirayim. Omalev Yudo, Mipnei Ma'aloi Noimar, why don't we sell differently? Im Kilo Keeper, and Lo Kilo Lo Keeper. Rabbi Akiva says, Im Keeper Kilo, if you did Kapara, you're done. So the people say it differently. If you're done, then you did Kapara. What does it mean? You have to be done more than the regular. If you're completely done, then you have kapara. If not. Rashi says, Kaimelan, that we learn from the episode, you may learn that what's the machlekes? Shirayim. Machlekes is Shirayim. According to Rabbi Akiva, in Kippur, you did the main kapara, kilo. According to Rabbi Yehuda, no. In kilo, I mean, you finished everything, then Kippur. If not. Machlekes is you could do, what about Shirayim? So according to Rabbi Yehuda, you must do Shirayim. And if you don't do Shirayim, it's back. Right? So you see over here that what? So that according to Rabbi Yehuda, not only things that are done inside of Ma'akev, or not only, you see everything is, even Shirayim is Ma'akev. Even Shirayim. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, I see, you're telling me, according to Rabbi Yehuda, how do I know that Yom Ma'akev Yom Kippurim, not Chukah? Also, that's a special pasuk by us that says Lapa. That's Yom Kippurim. So when we talk about it, we read the learn so different Joshua, they mean Shirayim is Ma'akev because it says in Kilo Kippur. You have to do everything. Everything is Ma'akev. Says the Gemara, Ma'papa le'nitzucha le'eis dam u'betfilo. Three drushes that you learn from the word eis dam u'betfilo. That by pi, if you look at Lashon Rashi, look at the Rashi, last Rashi in the Amud, starting the last line. Le'eis dam u'betfilo, the par koyin Mashiach tiv, V'tova hakoyin eis etzboi bedam. Right, so here's the three words. V'tova hakoyin eis etzboi bedam. So the three words we're dashing is tova, eis, dam. These are the three words that are written in Koyin Mashiach. Continues Rashi v'kasho. V'hari davnem with base. Kro parayim kippurim l'parayim u'di'itkesh. Tivdeka mishtai kro. Parayim me'el l'ktiv es bedam. It doesn't say dam tefilo by Paralum Dover. Hamon Kasha also applies the Parkour Mashiach. Hamon Parkour Mashiach, Nami Idkush. So you learn it from each other because they all mention the same pasuk. Parkour Mashiach, Parkour Kippur is mentioned together. Or Parkour Kippur l'chtiv eis, l'chtiv tvila, l'chtiv bedam. Parkour Kippur doesn't have these words. The achiktiv l'kak bedam par betzboy v'kshin la'ayla medi menu l'chus buyo shel eis v'chus bedam v'tvila. So these three words are missing by Yom Kippur. So these three things that are now written in Yom Kippur, I need to know that they need to do it. So, meaning, it really says, whatever's written in the Parsha of Yom Kippur is Ma'akev. Whatever's not written, I don't know what I have to do. How do you know you have to do it? That's why you have a hekesh. Now, what do you dash of Eis B'dam Atilo? Says the Gemara, Eis, what is Eis? With the bottom. Oma v'acha b'Yakov l'nitzucho ela lahachshir the b'mud beis amin shebetzvah. Rashi goes on to explain based on what it means. Amin is a blister. It's like bubbles on the finger. The Kohen is still kosher to do avodah. Bedam, shiye bedam shir tvilo mikar. You must have in the blood enough to do tefillah. You have to have enough blood to do tefillah. That Rashi says, come to your mind, if he was mikabel, less than a shear in one kli, and less than a shear in another kli. He has enough blood, but into the mikhail. No. The one kli has to have enough shear, enough blood. The tova v'lo misafik. Now another thing is you need to have tvilo. You need to have he puts his finger into the blood tvilo, not just like a little touch. It has to be a tvilo. So you need to have enough blood, I need to add that the finger will go into the blood. These are the requirements. If I have to say bedam, because of one of the say even let's say it was mekabel less than shir tefillah, 2 different kelim, each one has a little less than shir, and then he went and put together. That's good enough. So chiddush is each kli has to have shir tefillah. Because of one bedam. Because of one bedam, I mean I feel misapik. Maybe it means just to touch the blood. Now you have to dip in the blood. Because of one so that's why I know these things, and that's why Yom Kippur is written over here to teach you. So the Gemara at this stage says, why is Yom Kippur written over here? According to Reb Shimon, to teach you that you have ikuv. According to Reb Yehuda, to teach you these halachas are not mentioned in Parshat Yom Kippur.
Is he just adding on to what Papa was saying, or is it they're arguing?
No, this is just the Gemara is like as if quoting. What is Eis B'dam Tefillah? Oh, that's the Rechab Yaakov that we mentioned. He says
he's just adding the Gemara says Len Israel last time Tefillah. He's explaining
what it is. Yeah. Okay. Says the Gemara. Gor continues the pasuk. What the pasuk is talking about. Mizbech Ktoyre Sami Lamali. Why you said these words? She'im lo nischanech hamizbech b'ktoret samim lo hayamaze. Meaning, you must have mizbech ktores in the Beis Hamikdash in order to do azah. If I don't have the mizbech, I cannot do the azah. Even chinuch, even if you had it, but you didn't do the chinuch. Right? If the Rashi says that they never used it yet, you can't do azah because you have to have the ktores over there. There's another discussion regarding what we mentioned before. The Rambam says if you have no Beis Hamikdash, you can do karbanis. How can you do the karban in Yom Kippurim? You need to have the mizbech ktores. It says the Gemara Tanya Kavasei Papa. We bring a rayo to a papa that the Eis V'dam Tefillah. Interesting that we mentioned something in between. But the more just goes back to what we said before. It says Va'osa Kasha Soma Toima Loima Lepar. That we mentioned the pasuk. Pasuk starts with the word Va'osa Kasha Hasa. This is Lepar. The rabbis Par Yom Kippurim L'chol Mash'omur Beinyan Divrei Rebbe. So Rebbe says, come to add everything we show in Beinyan, which means what? Eis B'dam Tefillah. So that's really what we mentioned before to tell you that Yom Kippurim has all that you have in the Par Hela. Says the Gemara, "Oh, Mavi Shmuel, Kavachoymer," meaning I don't need to have a pasuk for it. I don't have to have Ekesh for it. Why? Uma b'mokom shelo Yehushua korban lekorban. We'll see the Gemara is going to explain. The Gemara is going to explain in a moment. But the idea is that the animals are not similar. Hushva maisim lemaisim. You say that whatever applies to one animal applies to the other animal. Mokom sheishva korban lekorban. In a place where the animals are the same, so of course, whatever applies to one applies to the other. Right? So, what is it? In which case we have animals are the same? Par Yom Kippurim and Par Yom Doshel Tzibur. So if Par Yom Doshel Tzibur I have the din of Eis B'dam Tefillah, so Par Yom Kippurim should also have Eis B'dam Tefillah. Right? So I don't need to put it in Hekesh. I just have a Kavochem. Which was I don't need a Hekesh, I have a Kavochem. So says the Gemara, Elamatu Lemon Lepar is the Par No Shel Tzibur. Elamatu Lepar is the Par No Shel Tzibur. Lepar is the Par Kohen Mashiach. So he says the pasuk says Lepar twice. The pasuk says Lepar and Lepar. So before we learn Lepar, one Par is Par Kohen Mashiach. And the other Par is Yom Kippur. So why I don't need Yom Kippur? Kavachayim says Rishwal. Oh, the Par is Par Lo Shel Tzibur. So as Rashi points out right away, we're talking about Par Lo Shel Tzibur. The pasuk is talking about Par Lo Shel Tzibur. That's the pasuk. So why have to tell me again Par Lo Shel Tzibur? So that the Gemara is going to address soon. But the more changes we said till now. Till now, from the beginning of the Bryce that we saw yesterday, it says also Kashaso Lepar. It says Lepar again. So we learn one Par for Yom Kippur, one Par for Par Mashiach. You go back to there.
Now you don't need Par Yom Kippur.
Kenya said Lepar is the Par Kippurim. Kashaso Lepar is the Par Kohen Mashiach. That was yesterday's daf. That's according to Rebbe. Shmuel disagrees. Shmuel holds I don't need it because I have a Kavachomer that I'm going to compare Yom Kippur to.
Only as far as Par Yom Kippur is the argument.
Yeah.
Everything else.
Yeah. So he's taking out Par Yom Kippur. He's putting instead Par. Right. he's putting it step by Yom Kippur, he's Par Lushon Tzibur, which that's what we're talking about. So why do you have to say it? Okay. So says the Gemara, so now Gemara is going to explain this sentence. Now we're going to explain the Kavachemer first of all. We find a place that the animals are not the same, but the avoid is the same. What is the case that the animals are not the same, but the avoid is the same? Says the one, my law should cover the carbon. The par, you have two animals in Yom Kippur. You bring a par, a bull, and you bring a seir, which is a goat. What do you do with him? Exact same thing. You take the par into Kodesh Kodashim. You take the seir into Kodesh Kodashim. You mix it together. You take the par you put it on the pareches. Take the seir in the pareches. You mix it together, you put them on the mizbech. So you do with them the same thing. Says the Gemara, that's not a good example. Yeah. You know why they're so similar? Because you go with them both to Kodesh Kodashim. The only things you bring to Kodesh Kodashim is par and seir of Yom Kippur. So they have the same avodah. Right? He says, so that's why everything else is showing. You want to say Kavachemer, if the par and seir of Yom Kippur are the two different animals, everything else is the same, so Koshkin with the same animal, how can you compare? Par and seir of Yom Kippur, they both go into Kodesh Kodashim, they're very unique in that pchinos, that's why they're the same. Says the one, the par no should tzibur v'seir of this kochar. Par of when the tzibur makes a mistake, and the seir when the tzibur makes a mistake of the zara. They are two different animals, but the same avoid. So the he says, okay, there is different because they're coming to mechaper in both cases on a mitzvah that you know you did something wrong. What does par no should tzibur come to mechaper? Mendy, what does par no should tzibur come to? What is it? Helam Dover. Par Helam Dover. Where does it come from?
That's the made wrong psak.
They made a wrong psak. Any psak. But they made something wrong. We know what they made wrong. They passed an halacha something wrong. So you have to go and fix it. What does Par Yom Kippur come for? They did never deserve a mistake. Right? So one of these two things happened. I know exactly what happened. So that's a very dual.
The sorrow is the problem.
But yeah.
No, right now we're trying to the two different components of the Parham Dover and the Syria is the top.
And both of them come from a very dual.
Right, but Bezdin made the wrong psak.
Yes.
One is the wrong psak by the Zara,
right.
One is the wrong psak by another lot.
Right, so they come that we're saying all you do. Now, what does it come into? But Par Kippurim is different because Par Kippurim is coming to Tumas Mikdash V'Kotshov, which is someone who went by mistake to Beis Hamikdash. He didn't know. Exactly the case. Right? So you're saying you can't so how can you bring you we want to come and say that Yom Kippurim is going to be similar to Par Nosh Tzibur. It's different. It's for something not known, and Mashayk Par is for something known. So the Gemara, the Par Nosh Tzibur v'Seir Yom Kippurim. No. Here I'll talk about this. Par Nosh Tzibur and the Seir of Yom Kippur. They both have the same dinim. Uma b'mokum shloishu korban lekorban. Die par by seir. The par when they made a mistake in a row. Seir when the Yom Kippur. Hushu ma'asim l'ma'asim l'may dichtibu. They are similar to what they're in the places that's written, right? Because whatever is written clearly in the Torah is exactly the same. Makom shehushva par korban lekorban, meaning. Par Yom Kippur, the high par by par, ain't your dealing with a mavdal shushu ma'asim l'ma'asim. Meaning, I want to come and teach you about Par Yom Kippurim that the same halachas of par Yom Dover apply to Par Yom Kippurim because I find something similar but saying Yom Kippur. Where do we see that? Look at Lashon Rashi over here. Rashi says, "Hushu ma'asim l'ma'adim." Says Rashi. First Rashi Nomet. Rashi says, whatever it's written clearly, there's no difference. They're both on the curtain. Meaning pareches. Because this is what we're trying to learn. We're trying to learn Eis B'dam Tefillah. That's not written there. But ain't the Shinu. He came in with the Pirish Zakoyel. The Torah did not specify everything. Tabimad the Pirish Leshani. ואם זה מחשפים וזו נחשפים וזה טעון שבועיים הזו, זה טעון שבע, מיולמי דכתיבו לא ישינו. אם מי בואי בזה, יותר מזה, וכל מקום מעשה עבודה שצריך לשתיהם לא ישינו. So what it says, whatever is written in the Torah, I see the Parah Dover and Ser Yom Kippurim, everything is the same. Hazois, Matanis, I have the same. Now there's some differences in other places, but whatever is written clearly in the Torah, they are the same. That's Parah and Ser, and they're two different animals. So when I have two same animals, par and par, so of course whatever applies to one applies to the other. So what I'm going to know, that's what I'm trying to teach. Eis B'dam Tefillah. How do I know Eis B'dam Tefillah? Because Par Hal Dova has it. So why Yom Kippur has it? Kavachaber. If it's the same animal, of course it has everything. So says the Gemara, the Asale, in the first line of the mouth. Asali par Yom Kippurim le'eis b'dam tefillah. How do I know eis b'dam tefillah par Yom Kippurim? Mi par kohen Mashiach. Meaning because I have a hekesh to par kohen Mashiach. Sorry, not hekesh. The asali say Yom Kippurim misir is kachavim mikavachoyim. I said the whole time par al dover. So I par kohen Mashiach, not par al dover. You learn from par kohen Mashiach mikavachoyim. And now Seir Yom Kippurim, Mesiras Kachavim, Mikavachoyim. And then you learn Seir from Seir. Meaning, I want to learn now, Eis B'dam Tefillah. Eis B'dam Tefillah are three drushes. They're not written, not in Par, and not in Seir Yom Kippur. So how do I know it? So I say like this. Seir Yom Kippurim and Par Hel Dover. Whatever are similar in the Avodas? Yes, even though they're two different animals. So Kolshka, when you have two similar animals, they should be similar. So really what? Par of Yom Kippurim, I learned from Par Mashiach. Par Mashiach and Par Yom Kippurim, they're both Par, so they should have the same avodas. So if you have Es B'dam Tefillah by Kohen Mashiach, you should have Es B'dam Tefillah by Par Yom Kippurim. Seir Yom Kippurim, I learned from Seir V'Dazara. Seir V'Dazara and Seir Yom Kippurim, they're both Seir, they're both animals. By Seir V'Dazara Kachavim, you have Es B'dam Tefillah. So to say Yom Kippur, we should have Eis B'dam Tefillah. The same sake of Kavachoyim that I had before, by Par Yad Duba Seir. So says the Gemara, but one last thing regarding that. Says the Gemara, which is what we're going to get to this Be'ez Hashem later. And if you were dapim, I think it's not end of tests or something. We're going to learn rules, which thing you can learn from each other. And one of the rules is that something that's learned with a hekesh, and the source is through a hekesh, it cannot teach with a kavochem. Something that's learned by hekesh doesn't teach kavochem. So how do you know Eis Dam B'Tefillah B'Siri Avidazar? Hekesh. What's the hekesh? Look at Rashi. Chidam Alal Be'hekesh. Rashi says, "Kigon Seir v'Tzkachavim l'Lamandu be'emes Eis B'dam Tefillah ela be'Hekesha she'ekshul Par Kohen Mashiach." Because we're reading the same pasuk of Par Kohen Mashiach as Hekesh. The Choyzim l'Lamandu Eis B'dam Tefillah Seir v'Kippur Kedom v'Kavochem. So you're learning be'Hekesh and teaching Kavochem. So how can you do that? Amar Papa Kasov Tan Rabbi Shmuel Davar Alon be'Hekesh Choyzim l'Lamandu Kavochem. Yes, the Rabbi Shmuel, this is Mandawi Holding holds that you could learn Kavochem from something that was learned by a Hekesh. And now the Gemara is going to ask, the next line of the Gemara is going to ask, what do you mean, how does Rabbi Shmuel fix it? So, back to the cheshbon of we just said. Rabbi Shmuel, we got to, really, it's like a lot of things in Zevachim, we got to this like a little bit by the way. The Gemara just wanted to tell me that there is a drasha. Why do I have to learn Par Yom Kippurim from, why do I have to put Par Yom Kippurim and learn from Par, why do I have to put Par Yom Kippurim in the pasuk of Par Yom Kippurim? But you know why? Because I want to learn Eis B'dam Tefillah. So that's why in the whole pasuk, each pasuk teaches me many things. That's the whole Tavla B'Tessamud base. Different things I learn. That's the brayso. One of the things is Par Yom Kippurim. Why do I need Par Yom Kippurim?
Just learn from a Kavochem. Why do I need the?
Oh, one second. That's a Bishwal. Before, actually, we went to three ways. Why? What am I doing with Par Yom Kippurim? So I'll tell you why. To tell you it's ma'akiv. That's the first stage. So well, ma'akiv, I know where that. It says chukah. Well, chukah is only for what's done inside. Now it's on the outside. So well, no, you need it for. So I need it. So well, no, read the holds that even shirayim is ma'akiv because it says v'chilu mechaper. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, I already know everything's ma'akiv. What do I need Parim and Kippurim over here? Says well, I need Parim and Kippurim over here to tell you Eis Bedam V'Tefillah. These three drushes. I need it. That's what I need it. So well, I'll bring a rice. The rice that says the Rebbe says you learn Eis Bedam V'Tefillah. How do you know Eis Bedam V'Tefillah Yom Kippurim? Ekesh. Perfect. That was the end basically of that Nikuda. But that same rice brought another shita. And the shita is Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel says no. Parim Kippurim does not. You don't have to learn Parim Kippurim. Why not? Because Parim Kippurim, I will know. How am I going to know Parim Kippurim? The Kavachaymer. Parim Kippurim. Rabbi Shmuel argues with what we said before. We said I put Parim Kippurim over here to learn what to learn, either Ikuva, or that's the first part, or to learn Eis B'dam Tefillah. Says Rabbi Shmuel, I know Eis B'dam Tefillah. How do I know Kavachaymer? What's the Kavachaymer? Kavachaymer is whenever you have two animals. I found that two animals that are different. When they do avoidance inside, they have to be the avoidance is similar. So the two animals are the same. Of course, they have to be the same. That's Kavachaymer. Now what? So what are we trying to? So what do we see? So says the Gemara. I have in Yom Kippurim two animals, par v'seir. I want to know that Eis B'dam Tefillah applies to them. How do we know that? Kavachaymer. Basic Kavachaymer. That whatever, because I found by the animals are different, have the same avoidus. So animals the same, of course, have the same avoidus. So par Yom Kippurim learns for the one which is the same, which is par Kred Mashiach. Par Kred Mashiach has Eis B'dam Tefillah. Par Yom Kippurim does not, but they're both par. Same animals. Kavachaymer, they have to be the same. What about Seir Yom Kippurim? Seir Yom Kippurim I learned from Seir V'Dazar. Because they're both same animals. So if whatever applies to Seir Yom Kippurim and Seir V'Dazar applies to Seir Yom Kippurim, that's how I know Eis B'dam Tefillah. So one second. But how do I know that Seir V'Dazar has Eis B'dam Tefillah? It's not written there. I learned it from Akish, the same Akish that we said before. They're all written in the Pesukim together. It could teach you Kavachaymer. So the more yes, this one number holds. You can teach Kavachaymer. So you may, if I hold, you can teach Kavachaymer. How do I know Par Yom Kippurim? I know Kavachaymer. I know Kavachaymer from Par Kred Mashiach. How do you know Seir Yom Kippurim? I know it from Seir of Avodah Gavaldik. So the more now. So according to Rabbi Shmuel, Par Yom Kippurim is not necessary over here. Ikuva I know, and to tell me Eis B'dam Tefillah I know for Kavachaymer. So says the Gemara. So now the Gemara is going to go. The next line of the Gemara that we're going to see on Shabbos Beis Hashem. Next line is, so what does Rabbi Shmuel say? What is Par talking about? Par Hel Dosh and Tzibur. Take away Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur you don't need. Par Dosh and Tzibur. Par Dosh and Tzibur, that's what I'm talking about. I have to write it again. That's what the Gemara is going to discuss in the next line. Let's say I go my way.
Maybe down Marvin.